You've been doing this for a while. You've been covering Washington for a while. A lot of people say this is the most unprecedented time we're living in. The last couple of days, voting on a health care bill that nobody knows what's in it. Is this as unprecedented as we've been led to believe?
It's wild. It's crazy. I mean, nobody knows what they're voting on. They don't know how much it's going to cost, how many people are going to get knocked off of health care, who's going to get it, who isn't going to get it. They don't have a score from the budget office, the CBO, which is nonpartisan. And so they're just going through these bills trying to get something to say we didn't fail.
And, you know, while this is happening, and this is something that's going to affect so many people and so many people's health insurance, which is a big deal, and then you have something like this morning where all of a sudden, you know, he starts tweeting about how transgender people are not going to be allowed in the military. I have heard that the Pentagon was completely taken by surprise by this. Is that what your reporting has led to?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little scary that the Pentagon, you know, U.S. intelligence did not know that the president was going to change the policy for trans people. And I don't think that the defense secretary knew. He is away on vacation for a couple of days. We've got a lot of big military issues. Afghanistan.
Do you think he spoke to the generals? I know he was saying that. Is that something that we can be led to believe is true?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Can't say. But the fact is that the generals have other big things. Afghanistan, Syria, you know, how to deal with North Korea, whether missiles are going to go up as early as tonight or tomorrow. I mean, they're...
As early as tonight?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I hope they wait till after this airs. I'd love to get one more in.
One more.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you know, there's a lot of theories floating around. Do you think that this is something, an issue that is near and dear to his heart, or that he's playing to his base, or that he's using it to distract from the healthcare issue that people talk about less when he does a tweet about transgender soldiers?
It's hard to say what's going on in his mind and what, you know, what he's thinking.
Yeah.
You know, seriously, I mean, I can't interpret it, but it certainly has been a distraction from the failure on healthcare. It does play to the base. It's a social issue, and it contradicts completely what he said during the campaign. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to figure out that this is near and dear to him if it's not something he was talking about when he was running for office.
One of the things covering foreign policy, you have to cover the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. He has not been taking a lot of questions. Would you say this is the least?
Yes.
In your time, there's never been a Secretary of State that's been allowed less access?
Absolutely.
And you've tried very hard, very noble efforts. Here you are asking him some questions at the end of a photo op. Let's take a look real quick.
Mr. Secretary, China has said there will be consequences for the deployment now of anti-missile defenses in South Korea. Mr. Minister, are you sure the Trump administration will be strong against Vladimir Putin?
Thank you, guys. Really do.
Thank you.
Can you assure us that Russia will not be able to move further in Ukraine? We haven't had any time in here.
You know what?
I mean, that is humiliating.
Yeah. You looked like a woman who was lost in a shopping mall at the end. Also, it's that interesting when people say thank you and you get the sense they're not that thankful. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing is he is not letting the press fly with him. And here is a guy who is taking trips to obviously everywhere across the globe. And so the press has to fly commercial to try to catch up with him. Has that made it your job even harder?
Well, it's impossible because you cannot fly from here to there, from country to country without a military plane. I don't have one.
Yeah.
And, you know, we pay our way on this, so this is not a budget issue. They say it's a budget issue, but he doesn't want to have the press go around. So he has one person with him, one person from the media now that he sort of represents all of us. But the fact is that for decades now, secretaries of state have briefed us on the plane or had their top officials briefing us. He doesn't have that many top officials because they haven't filled the vacancies, which is another whole issue. But it really is hurting American diplomacy. It's not good for us as a country to not have the press able to say, well, this is what the goal is of this administration or this secretary. It also sends a really bad signal, I think, to regimes in China, in Turkey, in Russia, where reporters don't only not get press conferences, they get locked up, they get killed. I mean, there has always been a tradition where the U.S. Secretary of State, Republicans and Democrats, bring the press corps along, and if they don't have press conferences there, he or she will hold a press conference to show that we believe in freedom of the press.
That is very disturbing. I mentioned you've been doing this a long time, and you are sort of a trailblazer as a female journalist. And very early on, you noticed a bit of the distinction that people in charge will make between female and male reporters. You covered 3 Mile Island. which was obviously a big story. And what was your beat that you were in charge of 3 Mile Island?
I covered energy. I was the NBC energy correspondent, so I covered nuclear energy. And this was a potential meltdown, so it was on my watch.
And so what happened when you tried to go report from 3 Mile Island?
Well, a very kindly, paternalistic bureau chief, a lovely man, said, when I noticed that 5 days in, I was the only correspondent not going in and covering this thing, I went and said, how come I'm the only one who's not going to 3 Mile Island? And he said, because you are a woman of childbearing age.
Wow.
And I said, has it occurred to you that men's balls are as vulnerable to radiation as women's ovaries?
Okay. It's very...
I mean, I got there the next day. They
You
sent
got
me
there
right
the next
up.
day. Also, I want to say that's very noble because for all the doors that weren't open to women for so long, the one that you would think they'd be happy to have closed is the door to 3 Mile Island. But you, I think that speaks a lot to the integrity you have as a journalist. And please keep up the good work, Andrea. It was just lovely having you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Andrea Mitchell, everybody. Andrea Mitchell reports here weekdays at News on MSNBC.